I never thought I would be the kind of man who writes a story like this. I used to read posts about cheating spouses and think, how did they not see it? How did they ignore all the signs? I wasn't judgmental exactly, but I guess I believed that if something like that happened in my own marriage, I would know. I was wrong. My name is Daniel. I'm 38. My wife, Claire, is 36. We were married for 11 years and together for 14. We have a daughter, Lily, who is 8. Until last year, I would have described our marriage as stable. Not perfect, not movie romantic every day, but good. We had a home, routines, inside jokes, a daughter we both adored, and a life that felt predictable in the best possible way. I work as a project manager for a construction company. My hours can be long, especially when deadlines are close, but I was never absent by choice. I cooked dinner when I got home early enough, handled school drop-offs twice a week, took Lily to swimming lessons on Saturdays, and did the grocery shopping because Claire hated it. Claire worked in HR for a mid-sized tech company. She had recently been promoted, and I was proud of her. She was smart, organized, and charming in that way where people naturally trusted her. She always knew what to say. Looking back, maybe that was part of the problem. The first change was small. Claire started guarding her phone. For most of our marriage, neither of us cared about phones. Hers would be on the kitchen counter. Mine would be on the couch. If one of us was driving and a message came in, the other would read it aloud. There was never any secrecy. Then suddenly, her phone was always face down. Notifications stopped showing previews. She changed her passcode, which she explained by saying Lily had figured out the old one and kept opening apps. That sounded reasonable. Then she started taking her phone to the bathroom. To the laundry room. To the garage. If it buzzed while we were watching TV, she would glance at it and smile in a way I hadn't seen in a while. Not a normal smile. A private one. I asked her once, casually, "Who's making you grin like that?" She didn't even look up. Work meme. I laughed because that's what husbands do when they don't want to admit their stomach just dropped. Around the same time, she became very interested in her appearance. New clothes. New perfume. A gym membership. Hair appointments every 6 weeks instead of every 3 months. Again, not suspicious by itself. People change. People want to feel good about themselves. I encouraged it. I told her she looked beautiful. I meant it. But the changes weren't for me. That's what I didn't understand then. When someone starts glowing and none of that light reaches you, it means it's shining somewhere else. The late night started in March. At first, it was quarterly planning. Then team drinks. Then Sarah needs to talk, she's going through a hard time. Sarah was one of her co-workers, and I had met her a few times. Nice woman. Married with twins. Claire would come home at 10:30 or 11, smelling like wine and cold air, her cheeks flushed, her eyes too bright. I would ask, "Good night." She'd say, "Exhausting." Then she would shower immediately. That became another thing. The showers. Before, Claire usually showered in the morning. Now, whenever she came home late, she went straight upstairs and turned on the water. Sometimes she'd leave her clothes in the hamper, sometimes she'd stuff them into the washing machine right away. One night, I said, "You're doing laundry at midnight?" She snapped, "Do you have a problem with me being clean?" I remember standing there in the hallway, stunned by the sharpness in her voice. "No," I said. "I just asked." She sighed and rubbed her temples. "I'm sorry. I'm tired. Work is killing me." And because I loved her, I believed her. Or I tried to. The thing about suspicion is that it makes you feel guilty. You feel guilty for noticing. Guilty for wondering. Guilty for imagining your spouse as someone capable of betrayal. So you explain things away until reality becomes impossible to ignore. For me, reality arrived through our daughter. It was a Sunday morning in May. Claire had gone to brunch with Sarah. Lily and I were making pancakes. She was sitting on the counter in her pajamas, swinging her feet, covered in flour because she insisted on mixing the batter herself. Out of nowhere, she said, "Mommy says I shouldn't tell you about Uncle Mark." I froze. Not dramatically. I didn't drop the bowl. I didn't yell. I just stopped stirring. I looked at her and said, as calmly as I could, "What do you mean, sweetheart?" Lily immediately looked scared, like she realized she had done something wrong. "Nothing." I forced a smile. "You're not in trouble. I just don't know who Uncle Mark is." She looked down at her flour-covered hands. "Mommy said he's her friend from work. But I'm not supposed to call him Uncle Mark around you." My heart started pounding so hard I could hear it. I sat down at the kitchen table. "Did you meet him?" Lily nodded. "At the park. And at the ice cream place." I felt like the room tilted. "When?" She shrugged. "When you were at work." I wanted to ask 100 questions. I wanted to scream. I wanted to call Claire immediately. But my daughter was 8, and she was already anxious because an adult had put a secret on her shoulders that never should have been there. So I swallowed everything. I said, "Thank you for telling me. You didn't do anything wrong. Adults should never ask kids to keep secrets from their parents." She whispered, "Is Mommy in trouble?" That question broke me a little. I kissed her forehead and said, "No, baby. I just need to talk to her." I finished making pancakes. I even smiled while we ate them. Then I put on cartoons and went to the bathroom, locked the door, and sat on the closed toilet seat with my hands shaking. Mark. There was no Mark I knew about. I searched my memory. Co-workers' names Claire had mentioned. Company parties. Christmas events. Nothing. I didn't confront her that day. I wish I could say it was because I was strategic, but the truth is I was terrified. Once you ask the question, you can't unask it. Once you know, your life splits into before and after. Instead, I started paying attention. That night, Claire came home around 2 p.m. carrying a bag of pastries. "How was brunch?" I asked. "Good," she said. "Sarah says hi." I looked at her face. The woman I had slept beside for over a decade. The mother of my child. The person who knew how I took my coffee, who had held my hand at my father's funeral, who had once cried because I surprised her with a rescue dog she had been following online. And she lied so easily. That was the first thing that truly scared me. Over the next 2 weeks, I collected small truths. Claire said she was working late on a Wednesday. I called her office phone after hours, just to see. It went to voicemail. Not proof of anything. Then I checked our phone bill. I had never done that before. There was one number that appeared constantly. Calls during her commute. Texts late at night. Sometimes dozens in a day. I searched the number online. Nothing. Then I saved it in my phone and checked WhatsApp. The profile picture appeared. A man, mid-30s, wearing sunglasses, standing on a hiking trail. Name: Mark Reynolds. I stared at that picture for a long time. Not because he was especially handsome. He was average-looking, maybe a little fitter than me, with a confident smile. What hurt was how real he became in that moment. He wasn't a vague fear anymore. He had a face. I wanted to smash my phone against the wall. Instead, I took screenshots. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I don't regret it either. One night, Claire fell asleep on the couch after 2 glasses of wine. Her phone was on the coffee table. I knew her passcode had changed, but Lily's birthday still unlocked it. That almost made me laugh. She changed the code to hide things from me, but used our daughter's birthday. I opened her messages. There he was. Mark. I didn't need to read much. Honestly, the first few messages were enough. I miss your mouth. Last night was perfect. I hate going home and pretending. Tell me you're mine. My body went cold. I scrolled with shaking fingers. There were hundreds of messages. Months of them. Pictures I wish I had never seen. Plans. Hotel names. Complaints about me. That part cut differently. She told him I was a good dad but emotionally dead. She told him our marriage had been over for years. She told him I made her feel invisible. She told him she was only staying because of Lily. I sat there reading my wife rewrite our entire life to justify what she was doing. And then I found the messages about my daughter. Mark. She almost called me Uncle Mark in front of you-know-who LOL. Claire. I told her not to. She's too young to understand. Mark. Careful. Kids talk. Claire. I handled it. She knows it's our little secret. Our little secret. I don't think I have ever hated a sentence more. She had involved our child. Not accidentally. Not once. She had introduced Lily to the man she was sleeping with and trained her to lie by omission. That was the moment the marriage ended for me. Not the affair itself. Maybe that's strange. The cheating destroyed trust, yes. But using our daughter as a shield, making her carry secrecy to protect Claire's fantasy life, that was something I could never forgive. I took pictures of the messages with my phone. I sent screenshots to myself. I put her phone back exactly where it had been. Then I went upstairs and lay in bed fully clothed until morning. Claire came in around 1 a.m. and curled up beside me. She put her hand on my chest. I stared at the ceiling. She whispered, "You awake?" I pretended not to be. The next morning, I called in sick. After dropping Lily at school, I drove to a lawyer's office. I didn't tell anyone. Not my mother. Not my best friend. No one. The lawyer was calm, professional, and brutally clear. He told me not to leave the house. He told me to keep records. He told me not to confront her in a way that could be twisted later. He told me custody would be the main issue and that Claire involving Lily with her affair partner could matter. Affair partner. I hated that phrase. It sounded too clean. Too administrative. Like business associate. I spent the next week living inside a performance. I went to work. I made dinner. I read bedtime stories. I kissed my wife on the cheek when she left the house and wondered if she was going to him. There's a strange kind of grief when the person you're mourning is still walking around your kitchen. I watched her laugh at something on her phone while stirring pasta sauce. I watched her help Lily with spelling homework. I watched her fold my shirts. And all I could think was, who are you? The confrontation happened on a Friday. Claire told me she had a work dinner. I already knew from the messages that she and Mark had booked a hotel room downtown. I had printed everything. Screenshots, call logs, hotel confirmation she had forwarded to her personal email, even a photo Mark had sent her from the hotel bar earlier that day. I arranged for Lily to sleep at my sister's house. I told Claire my sister wanted a girls' movie night. Claire barely listened. She was upstairs getting ready, wearing the black dress I bought her for our anniversary. When she came downstairs, she looked beautiful. That made me angry in a way I can't describe. She smiled and said, "Don't wait up." I said, "Claire." She turned. I placed the folder on the kitchen table. "We need to talk before you go meet Mark." Her face changed so fast it was almost fascinating. The smile disappeared. Her eyes widened. Then she recovered. "Who?" I almost laughed. "Don't." She stared at me. I opened the folder and slid one screenshot across the table. Her face went pale. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Then she said the first thing every cheater apparently says. "It's not what you think." I nodded slowly. "Then explain it." She looked at the paper. Then at me. Then at her purse, like she considered grabbing it and leaving. "Daniel, I can explain." "Good. Start with why our daughter knows him as Uncle Mark." That broke the mask. Her eyes filled with tears instantly. "I didn't mean for that to happen." "But it did." "It wasn't like that. You introduced our 8-year-old to the man you're having an affair with." She flinched at the word affair. "It was complicated." "No. Taxes are complicated. Scheduling childcare is complicated. This is disgusting." She started crying harder. I was lonely. I had imagined this moment so many times by then. I thought I would scream. I thought I would throw something. But I was strangely calm, and that seemed to scare her more than anger would have. "You were lonely," I repeated. "Yes," she said. "You were always working. You stopped seeing me. I was working to pay for this house. For Lily's school. For our life. I know, but you weren't there emotionally. And your solution was to sleep with a coworker and make our daughter keep secrets." She covered her face. "Please don't say it like that." "How should I say it?" She didn't answer. I pushed another stack of printed messages toward her. "I've seen everything." She whispered, "Everything?" "Yes." She sat down like her legs gave out. For a moment, I saw panic. Not remorse. Panic. That hurt too. She wasn't devastated because she had betrayed me. She was devastated because she had been caught. Then came the damage control. It didn't mean anything. "You told him you loved him." I was confused. "You told him you were only staying with me because of Lily." I was venting. "You booked hotels." It was a mistake. For 6 months. She looked away. That was the first time she stopped trying to deny the length of it. I asked, "Is he married?" She didn't answer fast enough. I said, "Claire." "Yes." "Does his wife know?" "No." I leaned back in my chair and laughed once. It sounded nothing like me. "Of course." She reached for my hand. I moved mine away. "Daniel, please. We can fix this." "No, we can't." "You don't mean that." "I do." "You're angry." "I'm done." She started sobbing then. Loud, ugly sobs. The kind that would have destroyed me a year earlier. I would have held her. I would have apologized even if I had done nothing wrong. I would have tried to make it better. But I just watched her cry. Not because I didn't care. Because something in me had finally understood that her pain did not erase what she did. I told her I had seen a lawyer. Her crying stopped. "What?" "I'm filing for divorce." Her expression shifted from grief to fear to anger. "You went to a lawyer before talking to me?" That sentence still amazes me. I said, "You went to another man for 6 months before talking to me." She stood up. "You're going to destroy our family over this?" "No. You already did." Then she said something I will never forget. "If you take Lily from me, I'll tell everyone you were neglectful. I'll tell them you were never home. I'll tell them I was basically a single mother." There she was. The woman behind the tears. I looked at her for a long second and said, "Thank you for confirming I made the right decision." She realized she had gone too far and immediately tried to walk it back. "I didn't mean that. I'm scared. I'm recording this conversation." I wasn't. Not that part. But the second I said it, she went silent. I had started recording on my phone a few minutes later, when the conversation continued, but I let her believe it had been the whole time. Maybe that was manipulative. I don't care. She left that night anyway. Not to the work dinner. Not to Mark, I think. She drove around for hours and came back after midnight. I slept in the guest room with the door locked. The next morning, I told her Lily would be home at noon and that we would not discuss any of this in front of her. Claire looked destroyed. No makeup, swollen eyes, shaking hands. She asked, "Are you really going to divorce me?" "Yes." "Can we try counseling?" "No." "After 11 years, you won't even try?" That made me angry for the first time. I tried every day. I tried when I noticed you pulling away. I tried when you came home late. I tried when you lied to my face. You don't get to ask me to fight for the marriage after you burned it down and handed our daughter a match. She collapsed into a chair. When Lily came home, Claire acted normal for about 10 minutes before bursting into tears and going upstairs. Lily looked at me with worried eyes. "Is Mommy sick?" I knelt in front of her. "Mommy is upset because we're having some grown-up problems. But it is not your fault. Nothing you said or did caused it. Do you understand?" She nodded, but I could tell she didn't fully believe me. That became the hardest part. Not the divorce papers. Not the division of assets. Not telling my family. It was Lily. She started asking if secrets were bad. She asked if I was mad at her. She asked if Uncle Mark was why Mommy cried. I got her into therapy as soon as I could. Claire was furious when she found out. She doesn't need therapy. You're making this bigger than it is. I said, she was told to hide your affair. She needs someone safe to talk to. Claire said, don't call it that in front of her. I don't. But I thought. You should have worried about what she was exposed to before you brought him around her. Mark's wife found out 2 weeks later. Not from me. I had considered telling her. I still had her name from social media. But before I decided what to do, Mark apparently panicked and confessed a watered-down version. She messaged me on Facebook at 1:13 a.m. Are you Claire's husband? I think we need to talk. We talked the next day. Her name was Emily. She was kind, exhausted, and humiliated. They had 2 young boys. Mark had told her it was emotional and only became physical once. I sent her proof that it had been going on for months. She cried quietly on the phone. I hated being the person who confirmed her worst fear. But she thanked me. Claire found out I talked to Emily and exploded. You had no right. I said, no right? You're trying to ruin Mark's life. I stared at her. That was the moment I knew she still didn't get it. Even after everything, part of her was more protective of him than of me. I said, you ruined 2 families. Don't complain about the witnesses. The divorce process was ugly but not dramatic in the way movies are dramatic. It was paperwork, tense emails, mediation, cold exchanges in parking lots, and learning how to speak to someone you used to love like they were a hostile coworker. Claire tried to control the narrative early. She told mutual friends we had grown apart and that I was punishing her for seeking emotional support. Unfortunately for her, she didn't know I had stopped caring about protecting her reputation. When one of our friends called me and gently asked if I was sure divorce was necessary, I told him the truth. Not every detail. Just enough. She had a 6-month affair with a married coworker and introduced him to Lily as Uncle Mark. There was a long silence. After that, the social circle shifted. Some people disappeared. Some chose sides. A few tried to stay neutral, which mostly meant they didn't want to be uncomfortable. I learned that losing a marriage also means losing the version of your life other people were comfortable with. Claire's parents were devastated. Her mother called me crying and apologized. Her father couldn't look at me when he came to pick up some of Claire's things. My mother wanted to go nuclear. My sister was calmer but somehow scarier. She helped me document everything, watched Lily whenever I needed, and once told Claire, very politely, "If you ever use that child as a messenger again, you and I will have a problem." I still love my sister for that. The custody arrangement ended up being shared, but with conditions about introducing romantic partners. Claire fought it at first, then backed down when my lawyer brought up the messages about Lily keeping secrets. Mark did not last. I found out through Emily that he tried to reconcile with her first. When that failed, he reached out to Claire. They apparently tried to be together for about 3 weeks, but real life wasn't as exciting as hotel rooms and secret texts. Claire called me one night, crying. I lost everything for nothing. I was silent for a moment. Then I said, "No. You gave everything away." She hung up. I don't say that because it felt good. It didn't. None of this has felt good. Revenge is not as satisfying as people imagine when your child is involved and your home is split in two. There are still nights Lily cries because she misses when we all live together. There are still mornings I wake up and forget for 3 seconds that I'm divorced. There are still songs I skip because they remind me of road trips with Claire. There are still moments when I see her at school events and remember the girl I met at 24, laughing in a red sweater, stealing fries from my plate. But memory is not a reason to return to someone who betrayed you. A few months after the divorce was finalized, Claire asked if we could talk in person. I agreed, but only at a coffee shop near Lily's school. She looked different. Smaller somehow. Tired. No dramatic makeup, no polished version of herself. She said, "I know you'll probably never forgive me." I said nothing. She continued, "I've been in therapy. I know I blamed you for choices I made. I know what I did to Lily was wrong. I think I convinced myself it was harmless because nothing happened in front of her. But asking her to keep a secret was." She stopped and wiped her eyes. It was selfish. It was cruel. That was the first apology that sounded like it was about what she had done, not what she had lost. I said, "I appreciate you saying that." She looked at me like she wanted more. Maybe forgiveness. Maybe comfort. Maybe a door left open. I didn't give it. She asked, "Do you hate me?" I thought about it. "No," I said. "But I don't trust you. And I don't think I ever will." She nodded like she deserved that. Then she said, "I miss my family." I said, "So do I." That was probably the most honest thing either of us said. It has been almost a year now. Lily is doing better. She has 2 bedrooms, 2 sets of favorite pajamas, and a calendar with stickers so she knows which days she's with which parent. I hate that she needs it, but she likes the stickers. Claire and I communicate mostly through a parenting app. We are polite. Sometimes even kind. But there is a wall now, and I built it carefully. People ask me if I'll date again. Maybe someday. Not yet. I'm not broken, but I am changed. I don't want to bring bitterness into someone else's life. I want to become someone steady again first. The strangest part is that I don't miss being married as much as I miss believing I was safe. That's what infidelity steals. Not just love. Not just trust. It steals your memories and makes you question which ones were real. It steals your confidence in your own judgment. It steals the ordinary peace of hearing a phone buzz and not caring. But I'm learning. I'm learning that calm is not the same as weakness. I'm learning that a person can cry and still be manipulating you. I'm learning that protecting your child sometimes means refusing to protect the person who hurt you. And most importantly, I'm learning that the truth has a way of surviving, even when people bury it under excuses. Because in the end, Claire didn't confess. Mark didn't confess. The truth came from an 8-year-old girl making pancakes, repeating a sentence she never should have been taught. Mommy says I shouldn't tell you about Uncle Mark. That sentence ended my marriage. But maybe it also saved the rest of my life.